Hello NFL fans and welcome back to the Wall of NFL channel. In this video, I'm going to be previewing the biggest game of the year, Super Bowl 56. This Super Bowl is going to be really brilliant, and I think that this game between the Bengals and the Rams is going to come right down to the wire, especially because this playoffs has been phenomenal and pretty much every game has come down to those final few seconds. And not to mention the Bengals, they've done it every single game in the playoffs so far, whether it be a field goal or against the Titans or the Chiefs, or stopping the Raiders from scoring a touchdown in the wildcard round. And the Rams, they've been pretty similar, again taking it right down to the wire against the Buccaneers and the 49ers in the divisional and the conference championship games. The Rams are looking like they would probably be the favourites in this game. They have a star-studded roster, a more experienced head coach that's been to the Super Bowl before, back in 2018 against the Patriots, which unfortunately the Rams lost for them, but they again have a fantastic team with the likes of Aaron Donald and Von Miller on the defensive line, Jalen Ramsey in the secondary, and they have on offense, they have Matthew Stafford, Cooper Kupp, Odell Beckham Jr., and I mean, it's just a fantastic team. And the Bengals, they don't really have a roster which you look at it and say, wow. But the Rams, despite being at home, I think that could be a detriment almost for the Rams, because the Bengals, in the last two games that they've played, they've knocked off the number one seed in the AFC, the Titans, and the number two seed in the AFC, the Kansas City Chiefs, both in amazing fashion. And I think that the Rams being at home in this game and being the favourites could play right into the Bengals' hands. The Bengals have played off the fact that they've been underdogs all throughout the season. With the beginning of the season, most people not even thinking they'd finish above fourth in their division. I thought, for one, that they'd finish probably 6-11, maybe 7-10, but I did not think they would get anywhere near the playoffs, and let alone the Super Bowl. It has been an amazing season for Zach Taylor, Joe Burrow, and the Bengals, and I think that the fact that they're underdogs again in this one, I think that could really play into the Bengals' hands. However, I would say that every single team that's ever hosted the Super Bowl has won. The players that will no doubt have the biggest impact on the field on Sunday will definitely be Joe Burrow and Matthew Stafford. Joe Burrow has not the most amazing stats in the postseason, but man, he has made some really clutch plays that just do not show up on the stat sheets. And even though he's had four touchdowns, and 2 interceptions, which isn't mind-blowing when you think about over a 3-game period, and the yards aren't that high, and when you compare it against Matthew Stafford, his stats do pale in comparison, but Joe Burrow comes up clutch in the biggest moments of the game. Like against the Titans, he found Jamar Chase for 19 yards with 20 seconds left on the clock so that they could get into field goal range and kick a field goal. And against the Kansas City Chiefs, coming back from 21-3, and that second half he was just immaculate, and especially in the fourth quarter, making some really big plays. And Joe Burrow is cool as anyone on the planet, and despite how much pressure he is under from that offensive line not being the best, he always manages to find his receivers. He was sacked 9 times against the Titans and was still able to show the Titans that he was the real deal. Matthew Stafford, on the other hand, as I said, his stats are really good in the postseason, but what stands out more than anything is he has 70.9% completion percentage in fourth quarter, and 10 touchdowns and no interceptions, and a passer rating of 123.5 in the fourth quarter of his games this season. And that is that's the best in the league. And if this game comes down to the wire, comes down to those big plays in the fourth quarter, Matthew Stafford could be the guy to get it done for the Rams. So both of these players are really good in clutch moments. I would say, though, Matthew Stafford was really close to throwing it all away against the 49ers last week. He threw down the field under a bit of pressure, and he nearly got intercepted in the fourth quarter, which pretty much would have sealed the 49ers' victory. But he got lucky, and at the end of the day, he still made the plays and won the game. So again, both of these guys, if it comes down to the fourth quarter, which I'm pretty sure it will, there's going to be some fireworks, I think, with these two guys on the field. Probably one of the biggest matchups that will decide this game will be the Bengals offensive line against the Rams defensive line. The Rams defensive line has had 50 sacks so far, in the entirety of the regular season, which was third in the NFL. And the Bengals, they actually conceded the most amount of sacks in the NFL in the regular season. So it's kind of like the worst in the league versus the best in the league. And that is not a good sign for Joe Burrow and not a good sign for the Bengals at all. Joe Burrow did say on Monday, though, that he thought the Bengals offensive line would be able to step up to the challenge in the Super Bowl, which I really hope that they do, considering if they don't, it's not going to be a good day for Joe Burrow. Saying that, though, I said it earlier, but he did get sacked 9 times against the Titans and was still able to pull it out of the bag. But I think the Titans, they maybe aren't quite as good as the Rams. Again, the Rams, they have Aaron Donald, one of the best nose tackles of all time, and he's got every single award you could imagine except for the Super Bowl. And Von Miller, he has over, I think, combined Aaron Donald and Von Miller have 213 and a half sacks in their careers. And most of those are from Von Miller as well. So this is going to be a really tough game for the Bengals offensive line, and they've got to step up if Joe Burrow is going to have any time to throw. Even if they do step up, I think Joe Burrow will still have to get the ball out of his hands quickly and maybe set up a few screens as well, getting the ball to Jamar Chase with time to run with the ball a little bit, and also get Joe Mixon into the game as well and try and run possibly some misdirections to get the defensive line, the Rams defensive line, on their heels a little bit. Both the Bengals and the Rams boast some amazing offensive weapons, but I've got to say, the Rams' offensive weapons are another level, I think. Cooper Kupp is the best receiver in the league by far. He has over 1,900 yards receiving and led the league in receptions, touchdowns, and yards in the regular season, and has done the exact same thing in the playoffs, and he's basically uncoverable. And sometimes you look out there and you see how wide open he is, and you've got to think to yourself, are any defenses actually trying to stop him? But I think that really goes down to McVay and scheming Cooper Kupp open, and they just do a fantastic job of getting the ball in his hands. And even if they are able to cover Cooper Kupp on Sunday, Odell Beckham Jr. is there as well. And on the last weekend, again, when they played against the 49ers, Odell himself had 113 yards receiving. And so these two guys are going to be really hard to stop. And if you stop one, hopefully Cooper Kupp, Odell Beckham is still there to make a massive impact. And whilst Tyler Higbee, the tight end, might not see any action considering his injury, if he is able to get onto the field, he is going to make a big impact as well. He's probably one of the better tight ends in the league, but he's not one of those big names like a Gronkowski or a Travis Kelce, but he always gets the job done. CJ Uzomah on the other side for the Titans is also suffering from the same injury, a sprained MCL, and he's going to be hoping that he's able to get to the field as well. The Bengals wide receivers, Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, are maybe a step below Cooper Kupp and Odell Beckham, but Jamar Chase has set a number of records this year as a rookie receiver, and he has over 1,400 yards and 13 touchdowns, and he's just had an amazing season. If they're able to get the ball into Jamar Chase's hands, the Rams are going to find it very difficult. Last weekend, the Chiefs did a really good job of actually closing down Jamar Chase for a lot of the games, yet he still got a lot of yards and a touchdown and contributed really well for the Bengals on offense. Even if they are able to shut down Jamar Chase, T. Higgins always comes out clutch when Jamar Chase is locked down, and he had a big game again against the Kansas City Chiefs. Here's hoping that Uzomah can get back, and they have 3 weapons to choose from for the Bengals on offense, because they may need every single weapon they can get, with Jalen Ramsey on the other side of the ball for the Rams. In terms of running backs, Cam Akers has had a little bit of trouble in the postseason. He fumbled twice against the Buccaneers and has only had about 2-3 yards on average per rush yards per carry. And he's not been able to find his rhythm, possibly because he's just come back from an injury. But Joe Mixon on the other side has been the best running back in the postseason. He's had more yards than anyone else, and he's just made some big problems for opposing defenses. Against the Kansas City Chiefs last weekend, he ran the ball so well and was able to get first down after first down. And in overtime, when they lent on Joe Mixon, he was able to get it done and take the ball down the field really efficiently. When it comes to head coaches, if you compare them side by side, I think Sean McVay might come on top on that one. Sean McVay is kind of the master and Zach Taylor's kind of the student. And Sean McVay's been coaching 2 extra years on top of Zach Taylor. So there's a little bit more experience there. And Sean McVay has the luxury of already being to a Super Bowl. So he knows exactly what it's going to be like. Of course, the Rams made it to the Super Bowl against the Patriots back in 2018. And it was one of the lowest scoring Super Bowls ever. But I do not think that is going to be the same in this Super Bowl. So Zach Taylor was the understudy to Sean McVay for a couple of years there when he was coaching the quarterbacks and wide receivers at the Rams. But I do think that Zach Taylor is by no means a bad head coach, or that much less than Sean McVay. Zach Taylor has a 100% record in the playoffs so far, and whilst he's only been there this season, he's 3-0 against the 5th seed, the 1st seed, and the 2nd seed in the AFC. They were all really tough teams that they were able to get past. And not to mention that, I think that the Bengals roster, is nowhere near as good as the Titans or the Chiefs, and I would actually still consider the Bengals roster to kind of be in a bit of a rebuild still. Their offensive line, as I mentioned already, is absolutely terrible. Their defense might need a few more pieces here and there, and again, I just think they need a little bit more depth as well. I do think that Zach Taylor and the Bengals are not going to back down at all, despite being underdogs, despite having everything stacked against them, because they are going away again to face against another team that's meant to be better than them, and I think that might play exactly into the Bengals' hands. So the 2 factors in this game which I really think will play a big part in it is the kicking game of Evan McPherson and Jalen Ramsey, the cover corner for the Rams. I think the McPherson, he's going to have a big say in this game because the Rams in the last 2 games have won both of their games via last-second field goals. And in the previous game against the Raiders, McPherson kicked 4 field goals, I think it was. And so far in the playoffs, in the last 3 games, he's had 12 field goals and 4 extra points and not missed a single one of them. And they've been some of the most pressurized kicks that any kicker will have to make ever in their career. And McPherson has hit every single one. And he's a rookie as well. He's playing with house money at this point. And I think this guy is going to be a really big difference maker in this game. If it's a close game between the 2 sides, I think McPherson will definitely give the Bengals the edge if it is really that close. But I think Jalen Ramsey could have something to say about that, because despite him being the cover corner and Evan McPherson is a kicker, they won't come up against each other. But Jalen Ramsey will be able to decide how much Jamar Chase gets the ball. And Jamar Chase, if he gets the ball a lot, the Rams are going to find it really difficult, because Jamar Chase is so fast, he has excellent hands, and he's just such a difference maker with the ball in his hands. So if Jalen Ramsey is able to shut down Jamar Chase and not really give him a chance of getting the ball, I think the Rams will definitely have the edge over the Bengals. But either way, whatever happens this Sunday, if Jalen Ramsey gets the better of Jamar Chase, I still think T. Higgins will step up, or Joe Mixon will step up, or Joe Burrow will just find a whole new receiver to throw to. And I think that both teams will adapt really well to the other team. And whatever happens, I think it is going to be close. And I'm really excited for this Sunday. Both teams are really likable, so I don't really know who I want to win. Matthew Stafford has been at the Lions for so long, and it's just about time that he gets a chance at a Super Bowl. And Joe Burrow, he came from LSU, he's got an torn ACL last season, and in his first full season gets the Bengals to the Super Bowl. And Zach Taylor's a young head coach. Sean McVay is so likable as well. Aaron Donald, the only thing he's missing from his trophy case is a Super Bowl. There's just so many things about both teams that I want both of them to win the Super Bowl, kind of. I think the Rams, they are my pick to win this game, though. And no matter how much I love the Bengals, I think the Rams definitely have the upper hand. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please also head to our social media pages, Wall of NFL on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram and TikTok, and also head to wallofnfl.com where you can find all the breaking news and exclusive articles there as well. So I hope you all have a great Super Bowl Sunday, and I'll see you all next week.